Hi, Dave Jeck here, Superintendent of Fauquier County Public Schools with another edition of One Hard Question. This week's hard question is sort of a culmination of questions we've been receiving lately that were as a result of a op-ed piece that appeared in Fauquier Now about essentially the question being asked was why is the cost of constructing a new school, middle school in Fauquier County so much more expensive than in other jurisdictions surrounding Fauquier County? So the answer is pretty straightforward and pretty simple because no, it is not. If you're willing to do some digging uh, into this um, into this project and what other folks are doing, what you're going to find out is in most cases we are spending at approximately the same level as others or less. And here's a couple things to keep in mind. When you talk about a project, a middle school project, that's different than the construction cost. All right. Construction cost is one thing, project cost is another. The construction cost is the cost of the actual construction of the building. Project cost includes things like uh, engineering and design, the cost of inflation, because from the time a project goes out to bid until it's actually completed, could be up to 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years. So you're going to factor in 5%, which is the industry standard right now, just for construction. So if it's a $40 million project, for example, and it takes up to 3 years to complete, let's say 2.5 years, just to be conservative, that's another $5 million. Okay. There are other costs also that inflate as you work through a project. What we have done with this project is we have talked about the project cost because that's the honest and transparent way to do it. We're not going to come out with the construction cost and then at the end of the day say, oh yeah, but there's all this other stuff that we didn't mention that like demolition of Taylor Middle School. That's $2.5 million. We forgot to mention that. We're not going to do that. We're going to include everything up front, transparently, from the beginning of this project all the way through. Here is the project cost, not the construction cost. We've included everything in the project cost. All right. And not the least of which, again, are things like design, engineering, inflation, demolition. Those things are all expensive, and the cost of those things typically they go up significantly every year, right? So when I hear things like, well, Loudon built this school for $45 million, and they opened last year, and goodness gracious, can't we do the same thing? No, we can't, because go back to Loudoun County. If they open in fall of 16, for example, or any county, if they open in the fall of 16 at a cost of, let's say, I'm spitballing here, $45 million, right? Chances are it was about 3 years prior to that school opening that project was bid, and they most likely did the same thing we did. They included an escalation, okay? Now take that same school and that same project cost, plug it into right now, 2017, $45 million, whatever. Then you're going to add 3 years, give or take, um, of inflation, if not only of construction, but all those other pieces, not the least of which is the demolition of an old school to build a new school. And Loudon, for example, they don't do that. They just keep building new buildings on pieces of property that they purchase, right? So that demolition piece is very expensive. So what you're going to find if you're willing to dig in and even contact us so we can show it to you. We showed it to the school board Monday night. We're going to show it to the Board of Supervisors tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. You'll see that we are right in line, if not less expensive than our neighbors. I want to mention one other thing. And this is what I mean by being willing to dig into this a little bit and learn more about what other folks do. And because again, what you'll find out is we're right in line with them in terms of the cost of this project. We called one school division and said, well, how much did built a new middle school? How much did you spend? Oh, it's $45 million. Okay, great. Well, it comes to find out that we learned recently that cost didn't include the cost of purchasing the property and bringing water and sewer to the location. That's very expensive. I don't know how much it was, but I'm sure it wasn't cheap. So that wasn't even included in their project cost. We're not doing this. We're not going about this that way. We're being very transparent about this. We want people to understand that there are costs involved that have nothing to do with construction, right? Now, what we've done most recently to try as a way of sort of bringing costs down is, you know, reaching out and choosing some prototype kind of project school that's been built in other places, and perhaps taking that design and plugging it in here, and that's a way to save money. It's a school design that meets our needs and is in line with what the committee and the school board wants for their school, but it saves money because it cuts way down on the cost of design and engineering, because it's already designed, and still requires a little bit of tweaking, but it's still designed. But not only that, but it cuts way down on the inflation piece because it's going to take less time. So potentially you're saving a year for design and some engineering. That's 5% of the project cost. So you're saving significant dollars there by choosing a prototype school. Whether or not it's going to happen, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Hope it's going to happen, because we need a school. And I'd encourage anyone, if you want to tour Taylor Middle School, I'll take you there myself, and then maybe we can drive up to Loudon and I'll show you some of their new schools, and I can tell you that's an eye opener. So anyway, sorry this has taken so long. Subject I'm very passionate about. If you have questions, please feel free to contact me directly. Thanks.